Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are back here tonight for another season here on console on Assetto Corsa Competizione. But this season we've got cross-play across the PlayStation 5. Okay, this stream is way behind. Way behind. Okay, this stream is way behind. Way behind. There we go. There we go. That should be sorted now. Sorry, everyone. So basically, my private stream, which I'm sort of streaming to the PC on, is about 2 minutes behind real time there. So I was wondering why my voice wasn't being transmitted. Obviously, I was a bit confused and a bit worried there, thinking, oh my God, is my audio not working? It is in fact working. We're fine. We're all good. But yeah, welcome everybody to tonight's action here at Melbourne Motive for the Assetto Corsa Competizione GT3 Championship here on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series. Apologies for the little delay getting on the stream. Obviously, ran into a few technical difficulties. It's the first time I'm doing a live stream with my 5G internet. I used to have 4G internet. I then stopped streaming on it because it became too unreliable. I've upgraded now to 5G, 3's 5G broadband. So let's see how it goes tonight. Tonight is a bit of a trial run. If it goes wrong, then I'll have to switch back to using the home Wi-Fi. But I'm hoping I can use this. I'm hoping I can use it when I'm not home, when I'm elsewhere. I can just take the PlayStation and the laptop and the 5G router with me, and hopefully it should work no problem. So we're going to see obviously how that works. But yeah. Nonetheless, we're getting ready to go here for tonight's first round of the season here for Season 8. I have actually advertised it in certain areas as being Season 7. That's actually not true. It is, in fact, Season 8. I don't know where I got that idea from, but yeah, it's definitely Season 8. I know that because last season was Season 7, and I looked at the thumbnails from last season, and I thought, hold on a second, if last season was Season 7, how could this be Season 7? Oh, it isn't. It's Season 8. But nonetheless, will you join us here tonight for things to be kicking off here? I think we're missing a couple of drivers. I can't see the reigning champion, Matthew Duffin, out on track. He doesn't appear to be with us here, so a bit of a surprise there. I'm not quite sure where that. I don't know whether he's lower down the order. I'm actually going to switch over to the PlayStation now with my HDMI cable, so fingers crossed I can trust that my PC has got this under control and isn't going to mess up the stream from now until the end. I'm just going to put my faith in that everything's going to be okay with it. And let's, get over to the PlayStation where we can actually check out this order and really deal with stuff here. But, the reigning champion, Matthew Duffin, not here tonight. We've got 26 cars out on the track, so we've got 3 spaces, actually, which is not really what I wanted to be seeing. But then again, I suppose first race of the season, there can sometimes be these issues with people maybe forgetting it's the first race of the season. I'm not sure. But I shouldn't really be complaining. 26 cars is more than enough for some exciting racing. But yeah, some notable absentees here tonight. Matt, Gary, and a couple of others, I think. But yeah, it is what it is. Look, let's not be too greedy. Let's not get too wound up about things that don't really matter too much. But here we are for the formation lap anyway, getting ready to go racing here for this opening round of the season. Obviously, we've got Raki and Zillabang in the comments, and Raki there saying, what an alien grid, respect. Here's my pit crew. Good luck, Motive Racers, says Zillabang. Obviously, Erico, where is he starting actually? Jamie Baker is his name. He's starting down in P24, so he's got a lot of work to do over the course of this race, but plenty of time over the course of the race for him to be able to do that. So it'll be interesting to see where he can get to over the course of this race. I'm going to try and relay to you guys who some of these people are so that you can obviously have a bit of context here. P. Vidler, that's Paul Vidler, that's PS Vids. You've got M Overtaker, I mean, pretty obvious Overtaker. DeMartino is a new driver to the league, so he hasn't raced with us before. Has put in a fantastic lap in the qualifying there, putting it in P3. Van Berkestein is Ecos Thomas, who was 3rd in the championship last season, I believe. You got Alexander Roshnov starting in P5, newcomer to the league. Jay Clouden, I believe his name is Jamal. He's a newcomer to the league as well. You've got Abe Bolden. That's Bolden is Awesome Gumball. You've got Simon Blair, which is the Mutts Nuts. Gary Burton, I believe, is Terra Nova. Babatunde Aramire, that's Tunde. Rami Fernie is Smoky Devil. Senna Hooft, that's Senna, actually our champion from the Formula 1 League. Or, not, no, sorry. He's not the Formula One champion yet, sorry. He almost wrapped it up on Friday night, but didn't quite manage to do so due to some issues with his internet. So actually, he's basically a stone's throw away from wrapping up the title, but he hasn't yet done so. So I don't want to curse him or put too much pressure on him here. He's obviously still yet to do that as things stand at the moment. You got, oh my goodness, sorry. I didn't want to report anyone there. We got Gray here. His name is Ian O. He has actually joined the league for this season. You got Jay Gooday, which is... Oh, is that Terranova? I don't know. G. Burton and Terran... Oh, they're Timplate boys, I know that. Robert Rorolonsky, P15, Robe there, racing in the Porsche here this season as a reserve, so obviously he can't make every race, but he's making tonight, which is good to see. Remco Cone, that's Remster, P16, S. Visser, which is... Oh, God, I do know who this is. How can I forget? How has this gone from my mind? I know who S. Visser is. I literally know who he is, and it's just... I've had a mind blank. I've had a complete and utter mind blank, and I can't even tell you. Snoopy. That's who it is. Snoopy is S. Visser. Mary Louise, M. Dot. I'm going to switch up his driver name for the rest of the season after this, so it's a bit easier to see that. R. Maget, that's Raki Maget. We got Dimitri Yemets, a newcomer to the league as well, starting P20. Our only Xbox driver, Jay Marive, starting in 21st place. Scooter Paul, running in 22nd, or starting 22nd for this one. Thiago Goncalves in 23rd. Jamie Baker 24th. That's error code. Thiago is obviously a newcomer to the league this season. Chris Martin, 25th place. Same name as the Coldplay lead singer. That's Chris GT. Or rather Chris M, I think it is, his name was, in previous seasons. And finally, Glenn GT, driving as GT UK, which is quite iconic. But here we go then. That is your 26 drivers, and that is who they were before and who they are now. And obviously we've got to get used to the surnames now. That's now the way we're going to be going forward here at Motive. So we're not going to be referring to drivers by their PlayStation names. It's going to be by their surnames, by their real names, or by the names that they've chosen to confide in us as their real names. Whether or not they are their real names or not, who knows? But that's up to them. That's their business. But here we come then, through the Parabolica, and about to go racing here for the first round of a new season here at Motive Racing on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. Cross-play across the consoles here. Here we are then, up towards the line, about to finish this formation lap and get underway in earnest here. So it'll be Paul Vidler to get us underway. Overtaker's going to be on his outside, looking to try and get a bit of a run down towards turn one. Just want to say a couple of notable absentees here tonight. Obviously, we're missing Jazzman, Tynus, or rather, as they're now called, Vermeulen, and Hurons, and obviously we're also missing Duffin and Leach as well, so hopefully those guys will be joining us for the rest of the season. But here we are, we're underway, and Vidler gets a horrible start there off of the line, and Overtaker's already got ahead of him here coming down towards turn one, but Vidler's getting a bit of overspeed here coming down towards the corner. Might have a chance to come back at him into the first chicane as they're coming side by side now. Vidler there trying to hug the apex. Oh, he goes a little bit wide, goes deep, and Overtaker's pushed out wide. It's forced across the runoff area, as we can see there. That's DiMartino there going straight on over the chicane as well. But the race leader at the moment is Overtaker, having pretty much used Vidler as a bit of a braking marker there. You've got Van Berkenstein here going side by side with Martino at the moment. Roshnov here just behind these guys as they come down towards the Delarosa chicane for the first time. But their Overtaker taking the lead of the race quite controversially there. Vidler there running in second place. Bolden is up into third place ahead of Berkenstein, followed by DiMartino. You've got Burton there ahead of Roshnov, followed by Clouden, Blair and Gray completing the top 10. And we've got somebody wide there. Somebody's getting pushed off onto the gravel there. Out wide. That's I can't quite see who that is at the moment. But a bit of a chaotic opening lap here. As we can see, there's the BMW of DiMartino getting pushed out there, going through Lesmo 1, but Overtaker leading the race ahead of Vidler, with Bolden there in third place, Van Berkenstein ahead of DiMartino. But Vidler's going to be, I think, on a bit of a vengeance mission here over the course of this race. I'm sure that if he gets a chance to give Overtaker a taste of his own medicine, then he will be jumping at the opportunity to do that, because that was a dodgy move going into turn one there from Overtaker. But it's Overtaker from Vidler with Bolden and Van Berkenstein. Martino completing the top 5, should I say. And then you've got Burton there running ahead of Roshnov, with Clouden, Gray and Aramure completing the top 10, followed by Hooft in 11th place. You've got Gooday running in P12 behind him. Rorolonsky there in 13th ahead of Cone, followed by Visser. Then you've got Blair down in P16. It's been a difficult first lap for Blair so far, but he's just ahead of Mary Louise, who's got Maget there ahead of Marive, and Goncalves in 20th place. Scooter Paul in 21st ahead of Yemets. Oh, Yemets has lost it coming out of Ascari. Yemets in the wall there. He's got a bit of damage there on the car as well as he gets it spun round, pointing in the right direction once again. again. He's lost a load of places there, though. He's behind Fernie, GT UK. Martin's moved ahead, and so is Baker as well. So Yametz is down to P26 on the opening lap of this race. That's not gone to plan at all for him. But it's Overtaker leading as they come out of the first chicane. Vida there in second place ahead of Bolden, with Van Berkenstein there ahead of Di Martino, the top five still in the early stage of this race. As you've got Roshnov coming under pressure here from Burton and Clouden as they come through the Curva Grande down towards the De La Rocha chicane once again here. But Burton here looking very, very close here, looking all over the back of Roshnov coming down towards the corner. He's going to look up the inside. He's going to have a look. He's going to try and send one here. No, he's too far back at the moment. He's coming under more pressure here from Clouden, actually. But Clouden is unable to make anything happen here at the moment either. And staying as you were between those guys, Gray and Aramiro in the background here, having a bit of a battle here for ninth. No, sorry, that's Aramiro and Hooft, should I say. As Hooft looking around the outside of Aramiro there coming through Lesmo 1. And Aramiro very wide there going through Lesmo 1. But Hooft unable to capitalise at the moment. Gooday there running just ahead of Rodonski, still in that battle for P12. Lots of cars packed into a short space here, as you've got a Ferrari here challenging, coming on the exit at Lesmo 2 as the cameraman just cuts out to something else completely different there. And we're just going to go back to the leader because that's always a safe bet when you don't really know what's going on. But Overtaker has got the lead of just over 1 second at the moment over Vidler, and seems to be cementing that gap. He seems to be quite comfortable out the front at the moment. Obviously, we don't know what the strategies are in terms of the fuel, in terms of the tyres. We don't know what they're doing. But Overtaker at the moment seems to be settling into a nice rhythm out front, and Vidler seems to be gapping Bolden a little bit, although Bolden has done the fastest lap of the race. I assume that would have been, well, it could have only been on the first lap because we've only done 2 laps. So Bolden set the fastest lap on the previous lap. Vidler there slightly quicker than Overtaker on that previous lap. So Vidler now starting to bring that gap down. The gap's under a second between Overtaker and Vidler at this particular moment in time. So Vidler will be looking to try and pile that pressure on over the course of this first stint. As we can see, there is a car going through Curva Grande there. So that is Yametz, who's obviously been into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop, so he's got that done and out of the way. He doesn't have to worry about that now. But he will obviously have a lot of work to do. He's nearly a lap down already, as Aramiro into the pits here as well. And so is Scuderia Paul. So there's now 3 drivers having come into the pits to make their mandatory pit stops in the still relatively early stages of this race. We've got Burton and Gooday here having a fight for P10 as they come down. In fact, no, Burton's now well ahead of him. Gooday now coming under pressure here from Rorolonsky. Rorolonsky looking down the inside into the De La Rocha chicane, a little bit too far away just at the moment. As I'll tell you what, Robert really did wallop those curves there going through the De La Rocha chicane, but keeping on to that for the time being. Visser here now trying to close up onto the back of them. There's Simon Blair running in P14, a couple of seconds clear of Remco Cone now, with Mary Louise and Raki there on the back of them at the moment. But interesting first couple of laps to this race, and I tell you what, the gap between Overtaker and Vidler has been coming down bit by bit over the last couple of laps. It seemed like Overtaker, I think, maybe got a bit of momentum off the start. Obviously, he did a bit of a push-to-pass move on Vidler going to the first chicane. I think that might have just shaken up Vidler a little bit on that first lap. Took him a moment to recover from it, but now he seems to be really bringing a smoke to our race leader, and it's definitely showing him that he's got the pace to keep up with him. Oh, it's Van Berkenstein's lost it coming out of Ascari. Van Berkenstein there has binned it into the wall. He's going to have to wait for pretty much the entire pack to come through. Thomas there with a bit of a mistake, and he's now going to be, I think, well, probably about P20 after that. Not quite sure, as he gets it pointing in the right direction there on the exit of Ascari. Let's try and figure out where he's filtered out in all this. He's behind Baker. He's behind Goncalves as well. I think he's ahead of Martin. So I think Van Berkenstein, no, he's just behind Martin. So Van Berkenstein there dropping down to P23 in this race, or P22 actually, because Martin will be up into 21st place. So Van Berkenstein with a really costly mistake there, and it's going to be a long way back for him in this race now. He's going to have to really make up for that one. As we go back to the leaders here, Overtaker and Vidler still running very, very close here. Only 0.7 of a second now separating these two. So Vidler will be looking to try and exact some revenge for what happened into the first chicane on lap 1 here. That's for sure. Rorolonsky looking down the inside. Have to check my audio there. We've got Visser. Oh, somebody's wide there through the first chicane. The second chicane, should I say. That was Rorolonsky. That was, Robert there, who's gone straight over, and he's lost out there to Blair as well. So he's lost out to, well, he's already behind Visser. But Simon Blair there getting ahead of him up into 11th place. Simon Blair also attacking on the back of Stefan Visser here for P10 as well. Roshnov is trying to attack on Di Martino here for 4th place as well. We're going to keep half an eye on that. Still watching a battle here with Overtaker and Vidler as well. So only 0.7 between them, but Overtaker has responded ever so slightly over the course of this lap. That gap's not coming down by as much as it was. But what can Simon Blair get done here with Stefan Visser now knocking on the door of a top 10 spot, but with a bit of damage here as well. So he'll have to look after that over the course of this first stint until he makes his pit stop. Obviously, that might cost him a bit of time in the pit box as well. But Overtaker and Vidler here coming into turn 1 here on lap 5 of the race. Not much really separating these guys at all at the moment. You've got the soon-to-be lap car of your Mets there running in P24. You can see them getting closer to him over the last few laps. Down to 25 drivers here, so we've had 1 retirement from the race so far. Not too bad as things go. In the meantime, Alexander Roshanov really putting the pressure here on the back of DiMartino for 4th place. Only 4 tenths between these two as they're coming into the second chicane. Overtaker's just extended the gap to Vidler a little bit over the course of this lap. Gooday's got Visser and Blair still hassling the back of him. Burton's now ahead of Rorolonsky up into P12. And Roshanov here really attacking on the back of DiMartino now. This is going to be a move I think that will be happening pretty shortly. He's looking very racy here. I'll tell you one driver who's going a bit under the radar tonight, but he's doing a fantastic job. That's Bolden here. Awesome gumball. Running in 3rd place, currently best of the rest behind Overtaker and Vidler. Just doing the business at the moment, running in a podium's place. But Roshanov here, very, very racy here on the back of DiMartino. Coming through the Parabolica here to complete lap 5 of the race. And he might have a chance here coming down the start-finish straight. Oh, it's DiMartino a bit wide there coming out of the Parabolica. Now Roshanov's going to be smelling blood here as they go side by side down the start-finish straight. He's going to be out the inside here for turn 1, but is he going to have the straight line speed to keep himself there all the way down the pit straight here at Monza? It's a very long pit straight, and the straight line speed really will be exposed if you haven't set up your car correctly. But Roshanov does seem to have the pace, and down the inside he goes into turn 1. That's going to be job done. Easy pickings there for him. I'll tell you what, that wasn't an easy first part of the chicane there, and that might give DiMartino a chance to come back at him here as he's round the outside here through Curva Grande. He might got a much better exit coming out of the first chicane. And DiMartino might have his position back here. He'll have the inside for the Della Rosa chicane. Roshanov's going to try and keep it around the outside here. DiMartino on the inside. Roshanov's slightly ahead, but DiMartino's got that inside line. Who's going to come out on top? It's Roshanov there around the outside who gets it done. Up into 4th place. Beautifully done there from him. As we see the leaders here, just under a second, still separating them, Overtaker and Vidler. But Overtaker has just started to claw back a bit of that momentum, which Vidler had a few moments ago. Oh, what's happened to Visser? Stefan Visser's dropping down the order here. He's now down running in 19th place. So not quite sure what's happened there to him, but he's dropped away massively. So now running in 19th place here in this race. Chris Martin into the pits at the end of lap 5 as well. So that's now 5 drivers who've been into the pits to make their pit stops pretty early here. Oh, Overtaker's dropped it. What's happened to Overtaker? He's now running in 7th place. Oh, my goodness me. So Vidler now left out on his own, and what was looking like it was going to be a battle for the lead over the course of this race has now been pretty much thrown to one side here. Overtaker crawling over the curbs there on the exit of Ascari as Gray's going to get the run down towards Parabolica. Can Overtaker keep staying ahead of him here? I tell you what, Overtaker here potentially blown an opportunity to win this race in the opening round of the season, as he's now got Gray looking down his inside into the Parabolica. Has he got damage as well? He might have suspension damage here. Doesn't look like the bodywork's taken too much of a pounding, but underneath, you don't know. But Overtaker, let's see what his straight line speeds are like. He seems to be hanging in there in a straight line, but through the corners, we're just not sure at the moment. He seems like he's able to pull away from Ian Gray down the straights, though. Into turn 1 we go. Overtaker for the time being's got it held onto, but let's see what he's like through the first chicane. What's the car looking like? Actually, it looks all right to me. I think the Overtaker might have got away without damage, but he has lost time, so that's obviously going to affect him over the course of this race now, because he's now well off of the race leader Vidler. And Paul Vidler here looking good for his money here in the opening round of the season here at Monza. 4 seconds his gap right now over Bolden running in 2nd place. And obviously Paul Vidler is the Season 2 champion on the PlayStation 5 under the alias of PS Vids, which is his PlayStation name. So it's been a really, really strong start to the season here from him so far. I know he does like Monza, a bit of a track specialist. I think I actually met him in a Monza lobby, I think, on ACC, on the PlayStation 4 version. I was just jumping in some lobbies looking for some clean drivers, and I'm pretty sure that was where I met PS Vids, got him into the league. But yeah, he's currently bossing things out the front with nearly a 5-second gap right now over Bolden, running in second place. And Bolden's got a big gap back to Roshnov, who still can't really shake off DiMartino, despite the fact that he got ahead of him a couple of laps ago. DiMartino's still sticking to the back of him pretty nicely here. Isn't letting him off the hook by any means. Clouden there running in P5 ahead of Hooft, who's really just quietly brought himself into this battle as well. And I'll tell you what, Hooft could be fancying a podium place here in this one. As Clouden here looking to the inside of DiMartino into the Parabolica, looking down the inside, he's going to make this move, and he gets it stick there beautifully, does Clouden. A bit of an unexpected one there. I just sort of caught that out of the corner of my eyes. It was coming as it was sort of shaping up, and now Clouden's going to have to watch out though, because DiMartino's going to have to run down the start finish straight. Here comes Hooft as well, otherwise known as Senna, as he's now looking to the outside here. He's got to switch him off of both of them. He's got nowhere to go though. Has to get out of it a little bit there. Had to just stop his momentum. Oh, he's managed to squeeze through the gap there. Wow, that was threading the needle there from Hooft. Down the inside he goes of Clouden into turn one as he rides over the curb a little bit. Still side by side, and Clouden gives him a bit of a tap in the side. Hooft there can't keep his momentum around the outside, and Clouden manages to squeeze him out there, and Hooft couldn't quite make it 2 moves in the space of one corner, but he's got ahead of DiMartino here up into P5. Good driving there from Hooft. I tell you what, that was brave there, the way he cut across, switched lanes when he probably had about a couple of meters to spare between them. Knew he had that gap, knew he could squeeze in. Did pretty well there, did Hooft. Yeah, if you'd done that on the roads, you might have got a bit of a tooting from the driver if you had switched lanes like that on the actual real roads, but on the racetrack, that's perfectly fair. And as long as you've got some clearance behind you, it's perfectly fair. But Hooft there, obviously, still running behind Clouden, but up into P5 nonetheless here in this race, as keeping on the battle between Simon Blair and John Gooday. These two running in 9th and 10th places at the moment. Only 0.3 of a second separating those two. They've got 2 seconds back to Rowlonski, who's got Gary Burton on the back of him. These two coming up towards Ascari right now. And Raki is currently pressuring Mary Louise as well for P13 in this race. So that's also a battle we've got to keep our eyes on here for the time being. But Clouden and Hooft seem to have just dropped DiMartino. In fact, no, Hooft actually dropped back into the clutches of DiMartino here, coming through the final sector. And now it seems like Clouden has just got a bit of a breathing space here to these two for the time being. Simon Blair still got Gooday within a second of him here, but Simon Blair seems to have gapped him a little bit over the course of this lap so far. In the meantime, Paul Vidler still stretching out his gap out the front, nearly 6 seconds now, 8 laps into the race. It's been a very, very strong showing from him so far. Had a lot of pressure from Overtaker in the first stint, but Overtaker dropped it a couple of laps ago and finds himself down in P7 for the time being. It's going to be a long way back for him, but there's still a long way to go, to be fair. There's still a lot of opportunities over the course of this race. Still plenty of time for him to get himself back into this. Hooft still trying to keep Clouden on the same page. DiMartino with these as well. This is still the 3-car battle for 4th place that we've been watching over the course of the last few laps. Oh, it's Clouden there, gets it all wrong. Hooft there had to swerve to take evasive action, and DiMartino gets through as well. So Clouden losing those 2 places, which he fought so hard to gain there. And just a little mistake there going through Lesmo 1. And now Senna Hooft is on running in P4 in this race, and DiMartino in 5th now. Overtaker's going to be coming for these guys pretty soon as well. He'll be hunting them down lap after lap after lap. But these three now well adrift of Roshnov running in P3. And Clouden down to P6, only 2 seconds now ahead of Overtaker, who's coming for these guys at a rate of knots at the moment. Ian Grader still with Simon Blair, putting pressure on him. Simon Blair's been closing that gap to Ian Gray over the last couple of laps. Simon Blair's gapped John Gooday by a fair bit, over 2 seconds now between those two. You've got Robert Rowlonski here putting the pressure on John Gooday as well, coming down towards Parabolica. But still a little bit too far away to really make any major inroads at the moment. But DiMartino here in the slipstream of Hooft. Towards turn 1 we go once again. He's just a little bit too far away at the moment. Rorolonsky in the meantime looking to the outside of John Gooday here into turn one, and Robert's going to make that move. I think that's job done there for him. Up into P10 in this race, into the top 10 there for Rorolonsky. Oh, he goes over to the curbs though, and he's lost out there straight away, having gained that position a moment ago. He's now had a bit of a clattering over those speed bumps, and Rorolonsky back down to P11 again. He's now got Burton really close on him as well, so that was a battle that he wasn't really in a moment ago. Tried to gain a position, ended up losing time. And Gary Burton here will fancy an opportunity here to try and take P11. Has Rorolonsky got suspension damage after that one as well? That could be a bit debilitating there for him. We've got Simon Blair here looking down the inside of Ian Gray into Lesmo 1, and he's made that one stick. Oh, lovely move there from the Mutts Nuts. Up into P8 he goes. Watching the battle between Hooft and DeMartino here in P4 and 5. As they're coming up towards Ascari once again. But Hooft still looking pretty strong in this one. Clouden not letting these guys off the hook either. He's still running in P6 right behind them. Oh! DeMartino loses it there coming through Ascari. He's completely put it into the wall there. Overtaker's going to move through. DeMartino, where's he going to drop down to in all this? Where's Simon Blair? Simon Blair will be coming up on the scene if you're not already past it. Where is he? Let's see. Simon Blair, he's ahead of DeMartino. He's going to get ahead of him coming into the Parabolica. And is DeMartino going to come into the pits? Oh, he's all over the place. He's really struggling here. And Ian Gray's going to move through as well. Is he going to come into the pits this time around? I wouldn't be surprised if he does. So Blair, Gray, Gooday all moving through. And yeah, DeMartino into the pits here. So saving his blushes here at the end of lap 10. He's got another driver there behind him. Gary Burton coming into the pits at the same time. Down to 22 runners here in this race. We had 26 start the race. Vida, though, out the front with an 8-second gap as things stand. Over Bolden in second place. Roshnov there, currently third place. Hooft running in P4 now. DeMartino, having had that major moment, has come into the pits. So Hooft has got a 2-second gap right now over Clouden. Those two were battling not long ago. Overtaker running in P6, just behind Clouden. Bit of a gap back to Simon Blair, who's got Ian Gray a couple of seconds behind him. Gooday still pressuring the back of Gray at the moment in this fight for P8. And in fact, who's this with them? That's Rorolonsky there. So Robe's closed up onto them as well here. Oh, it's Gooday there, giving Gray a bit of a tap. Really trying to force the issue here. Gooday there, wide out of Ascari. Rorolonsky might fancy a chance here. He's going to look to get both of them here. Rorolonsky getting a beautiful draft there down the straight towards the Parabolica. He's now round the outside of Gray as well. Gray trying to hold his inside line here. Rorolonsky there trying to keep it all the way around the outside. He's going to get wide onto the marbles there, and that might lose him a bit of momentum here. He's still on the outside. He's still got some pace here. Overtaker into the pits at the end of lap 11. Gooday, though, trying to tuck back into that slipstream here behind Rorolonsky. Rorolonsky couldn't get the move done on Gray there a moment ago. He's now going to look to try and make the move into turn one. Here comes Rorolonsky looking down the inside. Is he going to send one up the inside here? He's not quite going to be able to make that move. But I tell you what, Gray's gone a little bit wide there. Rorolonsky trying to keep his momentum. He goes wide onto the gravel there, which is going to cost him a bit of speed. And Gooday there is going to get them both out of the corner there. John Gooday making 2 places in one corner. He'll say, thank you very much, boys. Whilst you scrap it out and mess about, I'm going to capitalise beautifully there. Excellent stuff there from him. Textbook stuff there from John Gooday as Gray and Rorolonsky still battle it out. You've got Raki here closing in on those guys running in P10 right now. Obviously, P10 temporarily. These guys not in the positions that they'll be in terms of their net positions, because obviously the pit stops haven't all taken effect yet. Overtaker and Marave into the pits. Burton, Aramire, Fernie, Yemets, DeMartino and Visser have all been into the pits already, so that will shake up the order a little bit by the time we get to the business end of this race. Vidler out the front, still dominating proceedings here. Nearly 10 seconds his gap now over Bolden, who's just putting a lap here on what would appear to be Remy Fernie. Smokey there, P19 at the moment, obviously, having made his pit stop already, so that will change a little bit by the time we get to the end of the race. See Gray there a little bit wide. That's going to allow Raki up the inside, up into P8. Rerolonsky now ahead of Gray as well. So Gray's lost 2 places and he's into the pits here at the end of lap 12 as well. He's just behind Gooday. So Gooday came in as well as Gray. We've also got DeMartino still in the pits. So he's coming back in again. Oh, DeMartino, after being in the fight for, well, 4th place earlier on. Technically, I suppose 3rd, really, because obviously with Overtaker spinning, that's now blown the battle for the podium wide open here. But DeMartino, what has happened to this man here? Roshnov running in 3rd place, looking very good actually for 3rd place. He's got over 5 seconds now over Hooft running in 4th place. So it's looking like Roshnov now is the likely candidate for a podium place. Possibly might even be able to catch up to Bolden, because I think he is closing that gap to Bolden at the moment. Oh, and we got a drive-through penalty here for car number 155. That is DeMartino. So it's going from bad to worse for DeMartino here. Seemingly cannot get out of this rut that he's in here. DeMartino currently running in P22 in this race, and it's just a bit of a kick in the teeth at this point for him. Vidler still out the front with the race lead. Again, we don't know whether or not he's half tanked here. Maybe he's running a strategy which will force him to change tyres. We don't know what the situation is with that just at the moment. That will all come out in the wash over the course of the race. Raki trying to close up onto the back of Robe here, or Rerolonsky running in P7. And Aramiro here on the back of Gary Burton as these two come into Lesmo 1 once again. Clouden into the pits here at the end of lap 13. Jamal Clouden obviously was battling for 4th place near the opening stages of the race, but things took a turn, unfortunately, not for the best. He's currently in the pits here to make his mandatory pit stop, little way before the halfway mark here. Racing on his debut here tonight at Motive. Several debutants here tonight. Roshnov, also a debutant. Clouden, obviously, we mentioned just now. Goncalves making his debut here as well. Who else is making a debut? Gray. I'm sure Burton raced this last season, but I think he's tearing over. I'm sure he's tearing over. Who else is a debutant here tonight? Yemets, Marave, and DeMartino. So plenty of our newcomers still out there on track, sticking with it here over the course of this race. We've got Jamie Baker there into the pits. Error code stopping in his box, so he'll be off for the way in a second. But the news here is that Paul Vidler, the race leader, or the net race leader... What's happened? Oh no! What's happened to Paul Vidler? Oh my goodness, I was about to say he's been into the pits. He hasn't been into the pits. He's still going to make that pit stop. Paul Vidler's dropped it somewhere over the course of this lap. He's now running in 3rd place after absolutely running away with it in the first few laps of the race. Paul Vidler in trouble here on lap 13. Or lap 14, should I say, actually. Oh my goodness. And Bolden out of nowhere now has the race lead. Formerly Awesome Gumball, and I think it's Anu Bolden. It's his name, I believe. Mischeck on his first name, but what a turn up here. So it's now Bolden in the number 16 Mercedes, who's been running 9-10 seconds behind Paul Vidler for the last few laps. Paul Vidler's been running away with it. He's got a bit of damage here on the car. The pace he's got, I think he's still got a chance to win this race. He can still come back from this. He's going to have to fix the damage in the pits. We don't know if he's half tanked it or if he needs to change tyres. We don't know what the plan is with that. But Paul Vidler, after seemingly being in control of this race in this first stint, has come a little bit unstuck here. And it's unfortunately dropped him down to 3rd place. So Bolden leads with Roshnov 2nd, and Vidler there struggling. You can see the understeer that he's suffering from there going through Lesmo 1. He best off getting himself in the pits and get that damage fixed as soon as he can. Otherwise, it's going to cost him more and more time here. But Bolden out the front has the race lead. And that is absolutely massive there for him. he will be, I'm sure, in the nicest possible way, absolutely delighted with that one. But a long way to go yet. Vidler dropping back as we speak. Needs to just keep his head in. I reckon he needs to box at the end of this lap. He needs to get himself in, get that damage fixed, and just try and tear after the leaders in the final stint. Hooft could be on for a podium here tonight. Simon Blair running in P5 at the moment, driving a very solid race here tonight in this opening round of the season. But wow, incredible scenes here as Bolden comes over the line to start lap 16 of the race. Obviously his race number 16 as well. But that absolutely massive there. Paul Vidler dropping it on lap 14 of the race. And now suddenly nowhere to be seen in the battle for the lead. I mean, he's not a million miles away at this point. He can still come back from this. But it's Angelou Bolden who leads this race here on lap 16 of the race. Our driver from the USA, Awesome Gumball, as his PlayStation name is. Currently with the ascendancy here at Monza. Paul Vidler into the pits. No surprise there at the end of lap 15. But Roshnov there, only 3 seconds behind Bolden, is closing that gap. So Roshnov could be on for a win in his debut race. Our Ukrainian here, driving an absolute cracker. And Hooft now in a podium place. So that's going to be obviously music to his ears, or rather to his eyes. He'll definitely like to see that at this point. But drama here at Monza for this opening round of the season. As we've got Gary Burton here attacking on the back of Aramire, coming down to start finish straight. And you've got Burton there on the outside. Aramire seems to have surrendered that one. No, he's back down the inside here. Goes down the inside into turn one. Does he get it stopped in time? He stays off of the curbs there. And Babatunde there putting a great move back on Gary there. And that's him back up into P11. So Gary Burton unable to complete that manoeuvre just there. In the meantime, Paul Vidler has come out 6 seconds behind John Gooday. For context, John Gooday was running in mid-pack. John Gooday's been into the pits as well. He's made his mandatory stop. That just goes to show the extent of the job that Paul Vidler's got on his hands here to get anywhere in this race. A top five's now surely got to be his target after that. It's going to be an uphill battle for him here in the second half of this race as we see Senna into the pits. Hooft, as he's otherwise known, the championship leader in the Formula One League, could wrap it up this coming week. Got Bolden here just under 4 seconds ahead of Roshnov at this point. Oh, Roshnov there cuts over the chicane, misses his turning point a little bit. Simon Blair running there in third place, a long way off of the top two at this point. Looking for battles. Still got Aramire and Burton here running pretty close here for P11 and 12. Let's keep an eye on them as they're coming towards the start finish straight, coming down towards the Parabolica, the final corner. Also got Clouden and Overtaker on the back of Gray here as well. This is a three-way battle for P11 or for P13, should I say. Clouden here looking around the outside. But Overtaker here in the slipstream. Overtaker here on the inside of Jamal Clouden, it coming down towards turn one. Overtaker had the pace here to match PS Vids, or Paul Vidler should I say, as he looks on the inside there. There's Overtaker, he makes that move beautifully up into P13. Easy pickings there for him. Both of these guys out of position in terms of their pace here tonight, but obviously they have made their pit stop, so that will pay dividends. John Gooday though, I tell you what, he has really done bits in the pit over the pit stops. He came in for his mandatory. I think he hasn't changed tyres. Then again, has anybody? I mean, he's come out ahead of Hooft. He's come out ahead of Vidler and Hooft. So, as John Gooday absolutely played a blinder here. I don't know, how has he managed this? He must have come in for an early pit stop. I must have completely missed it. So, Gooday obviously getting himself in nice and early and has come out in P7 ahead of pretty much everybody here. But can he hold on to that? That's the question. A long way to go here in this race. We got Bolden there still running in the lead ahead of Roshnov. That's just under 3 seconds between those two right now. Simon Blair, third place at the moment here in this one. But Bolden and Roshnov, the gap's coming down bit by bit here. Angelou Bolden having been gifted the lead on a plate here due to Paul Vidler's mistake a few laps ago. Paul Vidler seemingly had the race under his control, but things have transpired a different way up to this point. Currently got 2.5 seconds to make up on John Gooday, who I don't know if he's a net race leader or not. Having made that early pit stop, Bolden and Roshnov, less than almost under 2 seconds between those two right now in the battle for the lead. Goncalves into the pits here. Tiago. Also DiMartino back in the pits. He should get himself a loyalty bonus or a loyalty card for that pit lane here tonight. Not been the race for him after a really promising start, I've got to say. Was running P4 in the first stint, but unfortunately just a domino effect, if you like, just seems to have kicked in, and he seems to have gone from bad to worse to even worse for him. Oh, Goncalves has got a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So he's gone steaming in there a little bit too quickly, and he's going to have to pay a penalty for it. He's going to have to come back in and try it again here. We've got Remco going into the pits here. Pardon me. Gap well under 2 seconds now between Bolden and Roshnov. So Alexander Roshnov continuing to absolutely reel that gap down here to Angelou Bolden. 1.3 the gap now. Look at that. 4/10 in one sector of most of these straights. Roshnov is absolutely flying at this point. Looking after his tyres that little bit better maybe than Bolden is as they're coming down towards the Parabolica. Both of these two, I think it's safe to say, have full tanked it, because they wouldn't have gone to this point if they were half tanking it. They're well beyond the halfway point now. But Bolden here might be clinging on by the skin of his teeth. Could be feeling the pressure a little bit, seeing that gap coming down. Roshnov sensing a victory in his first ever race here at Motive. His debut here tonight. Signed up only about 3 or 4 days ago it was. Quite a late entrant to the series. Kept the sign-ups private until basically the last week. We had 20 sign-ups, I think, with a week to go. And obviously with 29 spots on the grid, opened it up to the public, and we had a few jump in, including one Xbox user, Marave. So we've now got off our one Xbox user racing in our GT3 here on the console here at Motive. So hopefully we can get a bit of an Xbox following and expand the community a little bit. Maybe next season we'll have a second tier for the GT3. Also, I'm hoping to start up a Porsche Cup this season. So it'll probably be 5 or 6 rounds depending on when we actually get it going. But the plan is to get the Porsche Cup going for this season on Saturday nights, and that will start up probably about 2 or 3 weeks into the season. I'll be announcing that this week, and it will either be 5 or 6 rounds, and it will just run alongside this series. So it'll finish on the same week as this series. But yeah, plenty to look forward to here at Motive. Obviously, we've got the Formula One. We've got various Formula One leagues that we're going to be streaming over the course of the week as well. We've got the Flat Out Racing League, which we're going to stream tomorrow night. We're going to be back with the live streams, having had those off for the recent past due to some internet issues. But yeah, we're going to be back live streaming again this week. So we're going to have Flat Out Racing League tomorrow night. We're going to have Purple Sector on Tuesdays and Thursdays running their realistic Formula One League. We've also got the Motive Formula One League, which I'm hoping to be around for this Friday. If not this Friday, then I'll definitely be around for the next 3 after that. And then obviously we got the GT3 back again next Sunday as well for round 2. Porsche Super Cup will be either starting the week after that or the one after that. It'll be one or the other. Either 2 or 3 weeks from now, we'll be starting the Porsche Super Cup on Saturday nights as well. As Bolden here has just started to respond to the pressure from Roshnov a little bit now. 1.4 seconds the gap, so it seems like Bolden's picked up the pace. Hopefully he's not driving beyond his limits. Hopefully he's keeping himself under wraps here. But Roshnov was absolutely tearing after him a couple of laps ago, and now that gap has just started to stabilise a little bit here. As Vidler is well within a second now of Goudet as they're coming through towards Ascari. So it's just that Bolden, Roshnov, Blair, Rerolonsky and Maget still to make their pit stop. So I'm just going to call him Raki because that's his name. Everyone knows him as Raki. But yeah, these five still yet to come in. So obviously Goodave and Vidler, Hooft will probably jump Rerolonsky and Maget, maybe Blair as well. I'm not quite sure at this point. Have to keep our eyes close on that one, but watching a battle here out the front with Bolden and Roshnov. The gap under a second now between these two. So Bolden there, I saw him a little bit hesitant as well going through Ascari. That's allowed Roshnov to really close up onto the back of him here, coming out of Ascari down towards the Parabolica once again. Here on lap 21 of this race, both of these two still yet to pit. We're expecting both of them to be having a stop and go. Nothing major. It's just going to be literally just a stop in the box and get going again. No fuel, no tyres. At this point in the race, there'd be no point in changing tyres, and the fuel, well, you would have come in already if you needed to put fuel in. But Bolden and Roshnov here are going to fight it out for the win. Less than a second between these two right now. Unless, of course, Vidler is within a pit stop of them. But with these two obviously not needing fuel or tyres, they're going to be in and out of the pit lane very quickly here. So I don't think Vidler is within the catchment of these two. As things stand anyway, if they continue to battle, then who knows? We could see a change. We could see that change. But for the time being, I think Bolden and Roshnov will come out in 1 and 2, still ahead of Vidler, who is now ahead of Goudet into P6 in this race. So that could be a net P3, but I don't think it's more than that. I think it is a net P3 for Paul Vidler as things stand here in this race. Here we go then, battle for the lead. Angelou Bolden has still got Alexander Roshnov here, pushing him all the way, coming through Lesmo 1. Roshnov here on his debut here at Motive Racing has put in an absolutely fantastic display over the course of tonight. Has just slowly got himself into this race and standing on the verge now of taking a debut win here tonight. Also, one quick shout out here. Jamal Cloudon's just on the fastest lap of the race here, running in P11. He's now on the back of Aramire here in the fight for P10. Leaders there going through Ascari out onto the straight towards the Parabolica. I tell you what, Roshnov here has got a heck of a run. He might be able to make a move here down towards Parabolica. Pulls out to the outside. Bolden's going to have to defend. He's going to have that preferred line. But saying that, you get a lot of speed there around the outside. And I tell you what, Rosnov's done it already here. Before we even get to the corner, Alexander Roshnov hits the front here on lap 22 of the race. Now Bolden's got to try and get that slipstream here down the start-finish straight. Oh, Roshnov very wide. That could give Bolden an opportunity to come back at him here. Here we come. No, Bolden into the pits. So he's going to try and go get the undercut here in the final stint of this race. I'm expecting Bolden to come out ahead of Vidler, who's been into the pits. So Bolden should be in a net P2, potentially P1 if he can put in some fast laps now in clean air without the pressure of Roshnov. But Roshnov has just got to hold on to his advantage here out the front. And he will be the race winner for round 1 of the season. Keep an eye on Vidler, see where he is, because Bolden's obviously in the pits right now. So Vidler, where is he in relation to all of that? I'll tell you what, Vidler's going into Ascari. So Bolden, I think, is going to come out well ahead of Vidler. Bolden, I want a bit of a hold in the pits. But, yeah, Vidler's just coming out of Ascari now. So he's absolutely nowhere to be seen. And Bolden's going to come out well ahead of him. Yeah, Bolden at least 20 seconds ahead of Vidler. So Bolden there, just coming towards the end of the pit lane there. Into turn 1 he goes. So there we go, through the first chicane there. Angelou Bolden running in a net P2 now with Roshnov leading the race. So there's Bolden through out of turn 1. There's Vidler just coming over the start-finish line. And Roshnov still leading the race, but the question is, can Roshnov hold on to his advantage here over Bolden in the final stint of this race? In the meantime, we've got Hoofed and Overtaker here battling over 8th place. Here comes Overtaker, looking to the outside of Hoofed in towards the De La Roche chicane. Always Hoofed there, squeezes him to the edge of the track, trying to restrict his space there. And Hoofed managing to keep on to P8 for the time being. Overtaker couldn't make that one happen around the outside there. But Overtaker's going to live to fight another day and hope that he can make that move somewhere on the course of this lap. Bolden here has got a little bit of traffic here. He's trying to lap somebody. That's Visser there, who Bolden's trying to put a lap on. So obviously Andrew Bolden will be hoping that he can cut his way through the traffic nice and quickly here, seeing as he is in a battle for the win here with Roshnov, who's out the front. Still yet to pit here in this one. Battle for the podium is going to be interesting as well. I reckon it's Vidler in the box seat for third place. But then again, actually, you know what? Actually, no, saying that, his gap to Bolden, has he made another mistake here? I'm not sure. I don't know, actually. I don't think he has. I think maybe I just misjudged the gaps a little bit here. What's Vidler's gap? Vidler's 17 seconds behind Bolden. Bolden's about 19 seconds behind Raki. So actually, yeah, no. Vidler's not in the battle for the podiums. He might be in the battle for top 5. I'm not sure. But actually, I think Simon Blair might have a chance of a podium here tonight, potentially. So Roshnov, obviously the leader, and I believe he is the net race leader as well. It's going to be close with him and Bolden. But I reckon Blair is a net P3 here, because he's got enough of a gap back to Vidler. I think he'll come up behind Bolden, but he's got enough of a gap back to Vidler to come out in P3. Obviously, Rorolonsky and Raki have to come in again as well, so they're in the same boat as Blair. So Simon Blair could be on for a podium in the opening round of the season. That'd be a great result for him, as into the pits he comes here at the end of lap 24. There we go then. Simon Blair made his pit stop, and he's now going to come out, I think, behind Bolden. No surprise there. But he's going to come out in a very solid third place here, or rather a net P3, because obviously Rorolonsky and Raki are ahead of him on track. So he comes out in P5 for the time being, but a net third place with Rorolonsky and Raki still yet to pit. And once they do that, that'll be Simon Blair on the podium here in the opening round of the season. There's Paul Vidler coming into turn 1, so Blair there on the exit of turn 1. You can see Blair there going through the Curva Grande. There's Vidler just going through that first chicane. So he's not too far behind him. About 10 seconds the gap between Blair and Vidler at the moment. But I think Blair should be able to hold on to that as long as he doesn't make a mistake here in the final few laps. Could be an interesting battle for P5 though. Still a fair old way to go here. Still quarter of the race still to go, which is pretty crazy. But Roshnov still out the front with a solid gap here over Rorolonsky and Raki. These three still yet to pit, but Roshnov, we believe, has got enough of a gap over Bolden to retain the lead when he comes into the pits. In the meantime, Hooft and Clouden having a bit of a battle here. Overtaker managed to get ahead of Hooft a couple of laps ago. He's now running in P8. He's closing up onto the back of Good A here as well. So Overtaker might fancy another move here. Hooft, Clouden, and potentially Aramire here closing up onto these guys as well. You can see how much he's closed in over the course of this lap. This is now a 3-car battle here for 9th place. Overtaker here very close on the back of John Gooday now as well. Here we go then, John Gooday trying to weave around a little bit. Overtaker really coming for him as they come down towards the parabolic. He's now looking down the inside of Overtaker. He's made that move before we even get to the corner. Overtaker there up into 7th place. Hooft here's got Clouden trying to defend here from Aramire in the background there. As Clouden's trying to attack on Hooft and defend from Aramire at the same time. Hooft trying to cling on for dear life here for a top 10 spot. You can see that Aramire running in P11 is not far away from them at all. Overtaker though, moving ahead of Gooday up into P7. Nicely done there from him. And Overtaker showing the pace that he had in the first stint. I'll tell you what, Vidler and Overtaker, you wouldn't believe that these two were the top two battling over the lead in the first stint of the race, would you? Their races have both taken an absolute turn for the worst. But these two were the ones out the front, had the pace over everybody in the first stint. It was Bolden who was best of the rest, who's running in now in the net P2. It was Roshnov running in 4th. And then with these two falling by the wayside, Vidler and Overtaker, it then allowed Bolden to take the lead. Roshnov then started to close the gap to Bolden and took the lead. These two, I think, are going to fight it out for the win, but we don't know what the situation is yet because Roshnov's still yet to pit, so we're not quite sure what the situation is with those two. As Goncalves there, I think, disconnected and has rejoined the session. But Gooday still sticking to the back of Overtaker here in this battle for 7th place. Raki here coming into the pits, finally here at the end of lap 26. Actually, lap 25 for him, should I say. No, 26, sorry, yeah. Oh, what's happened to Hooft? Oh, Senna. He's had a moment. Senna's, I don't know, he must have made a mistake on that lap because he's already been into the pits for his mandatory after a really strong showing here. He was looking on course for a top 10, but unfortunately it seems like it's not going to be the way here. What a great performance from him, though. He can definitely come away from this with his head held high. ACC isn't his number one port of call. F1 is his main game. Obviously, he's the championship leader for our Formula 1 league here at Motive on a Friday night. But, yeah, it's not to be for him, unfortunately, at Monza tonight in the GT3s on AC. But fair play to Senna, in all fairness, because he's jumped onto a game which he's obviously not as comfortable with. And he's really given a good account of himself amongst a load of drivers who have been playing this game for years on years. And I mean, some of these guys have literally been playing this game since it came out in 2020, which is a long time. 4 years is a long time when you're constantly learning the evolution of a game and adapting to these little subtlety changes through patches and through whatnot and updates and stuff. And it just, when you jump into the game after that amount of time and you're immediately competitive and you're immediately able to mix it with the guys, it shows that you've got some serious talent as a sim racer. We've got Gooday here and Clouden, sorry, not Gooday and Clouden, Aramire, should I say, moving around the outside of Gooday there into Ascari. So Aramire there up into P9. So Babaton, they can now try and chase after Clouden there, who's on the back of Raki. Raki having pitted P7 at the moment for him, although he's down the inside there. So Clouden couldn't get back ahead of Raki there. Raki's still running in P7. But yeah, Aramire looking very racy on the back of these two now. Could be a four-way battle here for P7. You got Raki, Clouden, Aramire and Gooday all in a line here. Four of them battling over P7. This could get very tasty indeed in the final, couple of laps of this race. Oh, I've just found out the reason why Hooft is where he is. He didn't crash. He actually disconnected. So it was him. It wasn't Goncalves that disconnected. The reason why we briefly dropped down to 19 drivers was because it was Hooft who his internet packed up. So he was basically out of the session momentarily. So that's why he's gone from 9th to P20 in this race. Obviously, he keeps going, he'll score some points, but that's not the start that he would have wanted to this one, I'm sure about that. Not the start to the season he would have been hoping for. Technically a reserve at this point. I don't know if he's planning on making most of the races. But that is a real shame there for him. Oh, it's Cloudon's had a moment. He's clouted the wall somewhere. So Cloudon now out of this battle here for 7th place. Aramiri and Goudet still right with Raki at the moment. As we've got Raki here trying to defend on the inside line. Aramiri here trying to go around the outside of the Parabolica. He's going to try and keep himself there all the way around the corner. And onto the start-finish straight once again here. It's going to be tight between these two, as there's a bit of contact there between them as they come onto the start-finish straight here. Raki on the inside, Aramiri here on the outside. These two have gapped Goudet a little bit over the course of the last lap or so. As they're side-by-side here coming down towards turn 1. Raki has got a slightly better straight-line speed. And it's looking good here into turn 1. Aramiri trying to keep it around the outside. Lambo versus Lambo. And Maraki for the time being holds on to that one. But Babatunde here trying to push him as much as he possibly can here. As we are approaching the closing laps of this opening round of the season here for the GT3 Championship Season 8 here on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. For what it's worth, we have got one Xbox driver now racing with us here this season, although he has retired from this opening round of the season. But it does increase our pool of drivers, our options a little bit. Obviously with the aim to start up a Porsche Super Cup in a couple of weeks' time on a Saturday night. And if we fancy running a multi-class potentially on Wednesdays as well, or any day of the week for that matter, then that could also be an option. We could even run a GT4 league, but it's just never really been on the agenda. It hasn't really generated that much interest. Whenever I put polls out, it's never really been the option that people have gone for. As much as I love the GT4 category, but if people aren't going to sign up for it, there's no point. But I would love to do a GT4 league if people were up for it. But Aramiri here looking to the outside of Raki into the Parabolica. Is he going to try and go around the outside here? As Aramiri here is trying to keep himself around the outside. Raki trying to fend for himself there on the inside. But I'll tell you what, Aramiri's got a lovely exit there out of the Parabolica, and he's absolutely breezed past him. But Raki's not done. I'll tell you that. He's going to tuck back into the slipstream here. Seems to have a lower downforce setting, does Raki, than what Aramiri has. And he's looking back to the outside here. They're side by side down towards turn 1. Raki slightly ahead into the braking zone, but he's gone the outside. And Aramiri there's going to go late on the brakes, going to keep himself there. Very tight here between these two. Aramiri holds on to P7 by the skin of his teeth. Great racing here from these two. It might allow Goudet to come back at them here and bring himself back into this battle for 7th place in a moment's time. But these two really giving it everything for 7th place on these final laps of the race. One battle to keep an eye on as well is Simon Blair has got Vidler closing in on him. Paul Vidler's got the gap under 5 seconds now. It was about 10 seconds as they came out of the pits for their final pit stop. So Paul Vidler on a bit of a charge here at the end of this race. Obviously had the pace to win the race, was leading by 10 seconds before he made his huge mistake, which dropped him way down. As we've got Rorolonsky here coming into the pits at the end of lap 30. And Alexander Roshnov, the race leader, the only driver still yet to pit. And we still don't know if Roshnov's going to come out in the lead, because we know how close he was with Bolden before Bolden came in. So this is still battle on for the win here. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination. We still don't know who's going to win this race. It is still wide open at this point. As Robert Rorolonsky there now on his way out of the pits, or will be in a moment's time, I would have thought. Aramiri still just ahead of Raki in a battle for P7 at this particular moment in time. So Roshnov here coming out of the Parabolica. Does he come in this time or the next time? It's got to be either this time or the next time. If he doesn't come in this time, right, it's going to be the final lap then for Roshnov. It'll be the final opportunity to come into the pits is when he'll make his pit stop. I reckon it's going to be a 32 lap race altogether. No, 33 lap race it'll be by the time we hit the checkered flag. So Roshnov here has got to come in this time around, otherwise he will be given a DQ. Currently has the lead, but what is his gap over Bolden? Is it enough to see him through with this race win? I reckon it might well be. But we still got to wait to find out here. About a 30-second pit stop time here at Monza. I reckon Roshnov's going to have the gap. I reckon he's going to have that opening there to slot in ahead of Bolden. I reckon he's going to do it quite comfortably, personally. But still yet to be seen. If he has a slow pit stop, it could change everything. Roshnov through Ascari for the penultimate time here in this opening round of the season. 2 minutes left on the clock. It's a 1 minute 48 lap at qualifying speeds, probably about 149, 150 at this stage in the race with heavy tyre wear. But here he comes, Roshnov into Parabolica. He's about to come in to make his one and only pit stop of this race. Here he comes then, the race leader. And I reckon he's going to come out with a pretty substantial advantage over Bolden. I don't reckon he's going to be under too much pressure here in the final couple of laps of this race. Bolden is coming through Lesmo 1. He's only halfway around the circuit at this point. So I reckon Roshnov should be safe and sound here. Confirmation there, leader is on the final lap of the race. So it's going to be a 33 lap race here at Monza. Roshnov there in his pit box as we speak. Bolden coming up towards Ascari. Roshnov still yet to move. He's now almost off the jacks. He's coming off the jacks in a second. Bolden through Ascari. Roshnov still in the box at the moment. Still hasn't moved. When is he going to move? Bolden on the exit of Ascari now. Down the back straight. Roshnov still hasn't moved. He's still in the box. And Bolden here is coming down the back straight towards Parabolica. Roshnov still yet to move. Bolden could have the win here, you know. Bolden coming through the Parabolica. Roshnov is off the tracks now. He's moving, but I don't think he's going to get out in time. I think Bolden's going to take the race lead here. Roshnov was too late coming off the jacks there, I think. Bolden here coming down the start-finish straight. It's going to be very, very close indeed. But Bolden, I think, is going to take the lead. Roshnov here to the end of the pit lane, almost. Bolden over the start-finish line. He's taken the lead. There is Roshnov coming out of the pit lane. So Angelou Bolden here. Awesome Gumball on the final lap of the race. Looks like he's going to take the opening round of the season here at Motive for the GT3 Championship. There is Roshnov coming out of the pits. Not too far ahead of Orlonsky in the end as well. So not much between the top drivers here. But Bolden coming through the Curva Grande here. In fact, has Roshnov come out behind Orlonsky? No, he's just ahead of him. Not by much. No, he is behind him. Sorry, he is behind him. Yeah, Robe's jumped him. So Roshnov down to P3 after that final pit stop. Bolden here, though, has played the strategy absolutely brilliantly as he's coming through Lesmo 1 here on the final lap of the race. There's Orlonsky having inherited second place. Roshnov in third. So Orlonsky came out ahead of Blair. Blair's running in fourth place. Vidler's trying to pressure Blair for fourth place on the final lap of the race. I tell you what, only 10 seconds separating, in fact, less than 10 seconds, well under 10 seconds separating the top five at the end of this race. There wasn't much at all separating the top runners here over the course of an hour-long race. But Bolden here into Ascari for the final time. He pitted at the right time, didn't he? Managed to get the undercut here on Roshnov. I think he must have had a much quicker pit stop. Roshnov was in that box for a significant amount of time. And Bolden here down the back straight towards the Parabolica. There's Orlonsky in second place. Roshnov there in third. As here we come then. Final corner here of the opening round of the season for Season 8 here on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series Consoles GT3 Championship. Bolden here. Angelou Bolden, our American driver, is going to take first blood here this season. Over the line he comes to take the win in the number 16 Mercedes AMG. It's going to be Robert Orlonsky to take second place here with Alexander Roshnov. A fantastic debut from him. Take nothing away. P3 in the end, a podium place. Simon Blair fourth with Paul Vidler almost getting him there at the end, but P5 for Vidler in the end. Overtaker's going to come around to take sixth place here in the end. It could have been much better for him. It could be much better for Vidler as well. Those two were battling over the lead in the first stint. Let's not forget about that. Aramire is going to come up on the line here to take 7th place ahead of Raki, who will come over in 8th. Jamal Clouden not too far behind. Raki will finish this one in 9th place as here he comes. And Gary Burton and John Gooday fighting all the way to the flag there. Gary Burton P10, John Gooday 11th. Stefan Visser finished a lap down in 16th place. Tiago Concalves 2 laps down in 19th. Remco Cohn coming into the final corner. Raby Fernie has finished a lap down in 16th place. Remco Cohn here out of the Parabolica here for the final time. Is going to finish, this one in 11th place ahead of Ian Gray. Oh! So Remco Cohn 11th, Ian Gray in 12th, and Dimitri Yemets there in 13th place. Jamie Baker coming through Ascari for the final time. Error code there. Glenn GT's just got the Parabolica to go. And Senna Hooft has got this final sector to negotiate here. So Glenn here finishing the race. 2 laps down in the end. Or rather 1 lap down, should I say, actually. In 17th place. Hooft will be next over the line as he comes through Parabolica. No, actually, it'll be Jamie Baker next over the line. Jamie Baker, last driver on the lead lap to finish this one in P14. And Hooft will be the last driver over the line in P18. But that is that, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks ever so much to all the drivers who jumped in tonight. 26 people started the race. Unfortunately, we only had 20 finish the race. And 2 of them left before the server actually finished its cycle. But nonetheless, they'll still be classified. But thanks to everybody for showing up here tonight. Obviously, we missed a few drivers. Notable absentees. Obviously, we missed Vermeulen. We also missed Tynus. We also missed Duffin and Leach as well. So hopefully those guys will be joining us for next round, next week. But yeah, nonetheless, a great opening round. Really good racing. And really enjoyed commentating on that one. If you guys did enjoy and you want to get involved in Motive, then be sure to go to www.motiveracing.co.uk if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter. And if you're watching on YouTube, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, like button as well. And yeah, join us on our Discord server, get involved in the action on track. Obviously, the GT3 currently full, but Porsche Super Cup starting in a couple of weeks' time. That'll be on Saturday nights. And I'll try and give priority to those who aren't racing on Sunday. Obviously, we'll have some of the Sunday races in, I'm sure, but I'll try and get the guys who aren't already registered for the Sunday Championship in, so that at least you get a chance to get out on track. But yeah, definitely come along, see what we're about. It's a lot of fun here. But from all of us here tonight, it's been a very good night, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Thank you.